the news tonight, a week-long military drill dubbed Eager Lion kicks off in Jordan with a series of stimulated scenarios to facilitate a coordinated partner Jordanian-U.S. military response to threats. Palestinians mark in Nakba Day. They lost their homes in the 1948 war, with Israel staging a siren, a painting event and a mock train to draw attention to the right to return. And Jordan strongly condemns an attack that was planned by Daesh terrorists in Yemen, killing at least 25 new recruits inside a police compound in the southern city of Mukalla. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Jordan is hosting the military drill Eager Lion 16, which kicked off today and continues until the 24th in partnership between the Jordan Armed Forces and U.S. troops. Director of Training at the Jordan Armed Forces, Brigadier General Fahd Al-Daman, announced that Eager Lion 16 will consist of a week-long series of stimulated scenarios to facilitate a coordinated, partnered military response to threats. Here's more.
Organized by the Jordan Armed Forces in cooperation with the U.S. Army, the 2016 Eager Lion military drill kicked off today. During a press conference, Director of Training at Jordan Armed Forces, Brigadier General Fahd Al-Daman, and Director Exercises and Training Directorate at United States Central Command, Major General Ralph Gruber, said the exercise is recurring, multinational, designed to strengthen military-to-military relationships and enhance regional security and stability by responding to modern-day insecurity scenarios. Both officials added that the 10-day drill scenarios will include border security, command and control, cyber defense, and battle space management. Al-Daman pointed out that the Eager Lion exercise will take place at different locations in the kingdom. He also spoke about the activities that will be carried out during the drill.
The exercise focus is on the nature of hybrid conventional and unconventional threats and security challenges faced in a combined joint theater, linking together, multi Jordanian agencies together.
Gruber stressed on the main difference between Eager Lion 16 and the previous years.
This year is a bilateral exercise where we're working with just the United States and Jordan. We're also doing combined arms training, and we're also integrating the ministries, interministerial play into the exercise from the different ministries in Jordan.
The 2016 Eager Lion drill is the most prominent and major military exercise between the Jordan Armed Forces and the U.S. Central Command since it was launched in 2011. About 6,000 military personnel are supporting the exercise. Of those, 3,000 are from the U.S., representing U.S. CENTCOM and its air, land, and maritime components. Hibel Atoum for the News at 10.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas met in Ramallah with French Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault as part of his flash visit to the region to prepare the ground for a Middle East peace conference scheduled to take place in Paris at the end of this month. Diplomats say the meeting will package all economic incentives and other guarantees that various countries have offered in previous years to create an agenda for a peace conference in the autumn. Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki, who also met with Ayrault, told reporters that the conference welcomed by Palestinians may be delayed in a few days to allow more participants to take part. Ayrault said France would continue to pursue the initiative and that its ultimate goal was for both sides to return to direct talks, with international intervention laying the groundwork.
The French peace conference might be delayed for a day or two for technical reasons to guarantee the attendance of some ministers, including the U.S. Foreign Minister. But France is determined to continue with the preparations and holding of the ministerial meeting during the decided period of time.
Earlier in the day, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he told Ayrault during a meeting in Jerusalem that Israel remained opposed to the French initiative. Netanyahu told his cabinet following his meeting with Ayrault that the only way to advance peace between the two sides is through direct negotiations and without preconditions. The international gathering of ministers, tentatively planned for the 30th in Paris, is set to host the Middle East Quartet, including the United States, Russia, the European Union and the United Nations, as well as the Arab League, the UN Security Council, and about 20 countries without Israeli or Palestinian participation. Meanwhile, Palestinians staged demonstrations across the West Bank and Gaza to mark Nakba, or the Day of Catastrophe, the day they lost their homes in the 1948 war with Israel. Palestinians used a siren, a painting event, and a mock train to draw attention to the day, today marking the 68th anniversary of Nakba. Here's more.
All aboard a train made of road vehicles, Palestinians marked Al-Nakba, or Day of Catastrophe, using the train to draw attention to the right of return. The black-painted train, which bore the names of cities where Palestinians lost their homes in the 1948 war that resulted in the creation of Israel, and the flight of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, set off from Bethlehem in the West Bank by a train guard blowing his horn. Organizer Mundir Amira said he wanted to highlight United Nations Resolution 194, which calls for a return of refugees.
The train is a creative idea to raise awareness about the right to return and to deliver a message to the international community and to the Palestinian people. Firstly, to the international community that the Palestinian people are asking for the implement United Nations Resolution 194, and to the Palestinian people to keep the right to return goal alive. This train becomes a motivation to all the Palestinian people to continue in the fight to end Israeli occupation.
In the West Bank city of Ramallah, people stood still as a siren was sounded to commemorate the loss of Palestinian homes in the 48 war. After the siren, residents reenacted the movement of refugees wearing traditional clothes and carrying suitcases and baskets on their bags. In Hebron, men and women staged an outdoor painting event where men and women artists featured Palestinian displaced villages in their artwork.
The idea is to make the longest chain of artists in the world. More than 100 male and female artists are featuring the displaced villages of 1948 by drawing these villages on the 68th anniversary of Nakba.
In the Gaza Strip, demonstrators marched with a huge Palestinian flag and a map of the occupied Palestine. Loy Balkar for the news at 10.
Jordan has strongly condemned the terrorist bombings that targeted a police in the southern Yemeni city of Mukalla, killing and injuring dozens of innocent civilians. Minister of State for Media Affairs and Government spokesperson Mohammed al-Momeni reiterated Jordan's position, which denounces all forms of violence and terrorism, regardless of their source and motive. The minister voiced Jordan's support to Yemen in confronting terrorism. He also offered condolences to the Yemeni government, people, and the families of the victim, and wished the injured a speedy recovery. A suicide bomber had killed at least 25 new recruits inside a police compound in the southern Yemeni city of Mukalla in an attack claimed by Daesh terrorist group. Medical and security sources in Yemen said the victims were queuing up to register their names when the bomb went off. 25 more people were wounded. It was the second deadly blast in 4 days to hit the city, a hub for Al-Qaeda, before the terrorist group was pushed out last month in an offensive by Yemeni troops backed by the Saudi-led coalition. Bomb attacks claimed by Daesh against a state-run cooking gas factory in Baghdad's northern outskirts killed at least 11 people, including policemen, and wounded 21 others. A suicide car bomb went off at the entrance of the facility in Taji, allowing other vehicles carrying at least 6 attackers with explosive vests to enter the facility, where they clashed with security forces. A spokesman for Baghdad Operations Command said 3 of the facility's gas storage units were set alight amid the violence before security forces were able to bring the situation under control. Dozens of police and army vehicles rushed to the facility where shooting lasted for about an hour. Around 100 people have been killed in Iraq this week in attacks claimed by Daesh. Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud met with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry during a visit to Jeddah to discuss the fragile truce in Syria. Before departing for Vienna for broader talks on Tuesday with Russia, Iran and other countries, Kerry said he hopes to strengthen a cessation of hostilities agreement between Syrian government forces and rebels, which has been undermined by fighting in some areas. Kerry also reiterated the need to increase humanitarian and deliveries to besieged areas in Syria. The U.S. Secretary of State and his Saudi counterpart, Adel Al-Jubeir, have previously characterized disagreements over Syria as being limited to tactical differences, not objectives. The Tuesday meeting is co-chaired by the United States, Russia, and includes the International Syria Support Group, as well as Turkey, Iran, and China. Over to Turkey, where police prevented dissidents in the country's nationalist opposition from holding a party congress that could jeopardize President Tayyip Erdogan's plan for more power. Around 5,000 people gathered at police barricades near the hotel where the congress was scheduled to take place. The AK party needs the Nationalist Movement Party's support to change the constitution to give Erdogan more powers. While the party's loyalists seem willing to provide their support, dissident leaders have said they will oppose the plan. Turkish court on Friday gave conflicting rulings on whether the nationalist opposition can hold the Congress. An appeal court ruling is expected this month and will have the final say on the dispute. Ukrainians hailed their country's unexpected victory in the Eurovision Song Contest held in the Swedish capital Stockholm last night. Ukraine's Jamala won the 2016 edition of the contest with her 1944 song featuring lyrics about deportations by the Soviet Union in what could be one of the most controversial winners in the competition's history. The 32-year-old Jamala, herself a Tartar, sung about strangers coming to kill you all, saying we're not guilty, in reference to the deportation of ethnic Tartars from Crimea by Joseph Stalin during World War II. Event organizer, the European Broadcasting Union, said Ukraine's offering did not contain political speech. The organizers expected more than 200 million to tune in, more viewers than the Super Bowl. And the competition is reaching more viewers, with this year's final being live broadcast for the first time in the United States and China. Hundreds of thousands of people celebrated cultural diversity at the Carnival of Cultures, one of Germany's biggest summer events. Despite the cold and the wind, the streets of Berlin were lined with onlookers and people, both German-born and immigrants, all eager to take part in the festivities at the big parade. According to the organizers, approximately 5,000 participants from more than 75 nations took part in this year's parade. The carnival is renowned for its party atmosphere as well as cultural significance. Dutch teenager Max Verstappen made Formula One history as the youngest race winner in a Spanish Grand Prix that saw dominant Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg collide and crash out on the opening lap. Verstappen, only 18 and making his debut for the former world champions after being promoted from junior team Toro Rosso a week earlier, bet Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen at 36, twice his age, by 0.6 seconds. Verstappen was also the youngest driver to stand on the podium and the first Dutch race winner since the championship started in 1950. Around 500 plakking enthusiasts participated in the Plakking World Cup Carnival in Beijing. Office employees Wang Ling also runs marathons and does kayaking, said plakking was good to build up core strength. Mao Wing-dong, the new plakking Guinness World Record holder, and former international world record holder George Hodd were also at the event. Mao set a new record, spending 8 hours, 1 minute and 1 second on his forearms and toes. And finally, hot weather prevails in most regions for the rest of tonight with light variable winds. Tomorrow, a further rise in temperatures expected as a heat wave affecting the kingdom reaches its peak midday with a high of 39 forecast in Amman. It will therefore be hot and dry in the hilly areas and the Badia, while the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea temperatures soar to the mid-40s. Winds will be southwesterly moderate to brisk, raising dust in the southern and eastern regions. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect very hot and dry conditions tomorrow with northerly moderate to brisk winds and slightly high seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. And to end the news, here's a recap of our top stories. A week-long military drill dubbed Eager Lion kicks off in Jordan with a series of simulated scenarios to facilitate a coordinated, partnered Jordanian-U.S. military response to threats. Palestinians mark in Nakba the day they lost their homes in the 1948 war with Israel, staging a siren, a painting event, and a mock train to draw attention to the right to return. And Jordan strongly condemns an attack that was claimed by Daesh terrorists in Yemen, killing at least 25 new recruits inside a police compound in the southern city of Mukalla. And with this we come to an end. I'm Farah Ajlouni. Thank you for watching and have a good night.